Hello everyone, you are listening to 108live.radio. This is Kazway Cassiopeia, who will be accompanying you for the next 1 hour. I am a tarot reader, artist, and creator of my own tarot deck, which I use for all my readings. I'm also an academic psychologist and healer. I have my own practice in Johannesburg, South Africa as a life coach. I'd like to welcome you to my show, Interactive Tarot. This program revolves around the tarot cards. Over time, I'll be covering what tarot cards are, what they are not, how they are used, and so on. If you have any question, please contact me by emailing to mail2@cassiopeia.com. Again, it is mail2@cassiopeia.com. I'll spell Cassiopeia KASHIOPIA.com. I will certainly consider your question as one of the topics during the show. Closer to the end of the show, I will open an opportunity for listeners to call in so that you might be able to get a tarot reading done for clarification and guidance for your current issue. Interactive Tarot will be aired every Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. live here on 108live.radio. Stay tuned in. Hi, welcome to 108live.radio, and this is Kazway leading you to Interactive Tarot this beautiful Friday in Johannesburg. Well, usually introduce guests. Usually have two guests. One is Atma, who is the guy behind 108live.radio, and he's actually getting our weekly guest who has gotten a bit lost and being late a little tiny bit, but it's gonna be all cool. She's almost here, and she'll be talking about her life work as a womb whisperer. So it's about empowering women, but not in a feminism way, which leads to something that I wanted to talk about today that is also associated with the tarot. Most of the people who use tarot cards are either into what's called Rider-Waite deck or Thoth deck. Like those two cards that were published in the 20th century were like basically big influence in tarot that started many people getting into tarot cards. And of course in the 70s, 80s, so many other decks came out. That's called the transformational tarot. I would believe that my deck that I have created also belongs to the field of transformational tarot. And they are all basically like the philosophical foundation, like spiritual ideas and aesthetic, background is either on Rider-Waite tarot, what is expressed by Rider-Waite tarot or Thoth deck. And I got quite a bit influenced by Thoth deck. Thoth deck. And it took me about, say, 15 years before after I started studying tarot and was looking for the ultimate idea, like the ultimate, magic and aesthetic ideas of the tarot. And I was 14 when I started wanting to create my own deck, and I was like 29 by the time I encountered a Thoth deck. And ever since then I started my art started really flourishing. So, and this Thoth deck, throughout the deck, one of the important themes is really alchemy. And maybe you know about alchemy, that it's art and science of turning lead into gold. But it's actually not necessarily about physical gold. It's about spiritual development. And it can go down to, say, like mixing 2 or 3 different elements that are opposing each other and turning into something totally new and wonderful, significant. And certainly alchemy can be represented by love, masculinity, mixing masculinity and femininity and taking a balance and turning that into something beautiful. That's alchemy and that's love. And this idea of femininity is like when religion started among human civilization, a goddess was like the main figure of worship, because the humans didn't know how humans. So we got our guest Janaki. Let me just introduce her after I finish talking about this connection between tarot and femininity and masculinity and things like that. Originally, humans worshipped women because humans didn't understand the mechanism of pregnancy and contraception. Conceiving. What's the word? Conception and pregnancy and birth was all mystery. So it was like godlike act. Then in the last 2,000 years or so, the idea of more of a masculine aspect of divineness became focused. And now that we are in the era of Aquarius, the balance between masculinity and femininity became more important. So Tolstoy talks about, expresses the idea of alchemy and the importance of the balance between masculinity and femininity. And now that we have touched up on femininity, I think we can lead to our main topic today by introducing Janaki.
Hello.
Hi, Janaki.
Hi.
Hi. So you are womb whisperer.
Yes.
Yes. Let's talk about that today.
Okay.
Okay. So you are a woman.
Yes.
You are mom. Your daughter. You are yoga. More than your teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also lead organization, a group called the Red Tent.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're many things.
Yes.
Yes, and could you add more to elaborate what you are?
Well, I suppose my journey started with pregnancy.
Which was many,
it was 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
So
your daughter just had a birthday, didn't she?
Yes, she did. In July, yes. She turned 9. So in 2008, I did a yoga teacher training at the Sivananda Ashram in New York. And it was a couple of months later, not even a month or so later, then I was pregnant. So I couldn't actually teach. I had to start going to pregnancy yoga classes. And even her conception was a bit of a mystery. I wasn't supposed to be able to be pregnant, they had said, but there you
because
go.
I'm sorry to ask, but because of your condition, or?
Yeah, the doctors just couldn't understand. Yeah, I was just diagnosed that I couldn't become pregnant. Yeah.
Wow.
So she came along, and I went to my first pregnancy yoga class, and then I knew that was it. I just knew at the age of 27, walking into my first pregnancy yoga class, that this was my path and this was the work that I was going to do for the rest of my life. It was very clear, no doubt. And so I taught pregnancy yoga from when she was 3 months old. So I've been teaching that for 9 years now.
Yeah.
She just turned 9. And as the pregnancy yoga developed, I got more inquiries for teaching fertility yoga. And then that encouraged me to dive really deeply into womb awareness.
Yeah.
What is what is this thing of being infertile or being fertile, and then, you know, that leads very deeply into the mysteries of how we accept ourselves as women, or how we complete a 9 to 5 like a man, and then wonder why we can't become pregnant, you know.
Sure.
So I had to understand the dynamics between women living as men and how that was stopping them from becoming pregnant. And it just went deeper and deeper. And then you touched there on the red tent.
Yes.
So that I came into awareness of the knowledge of how important our menstrual cycle is to our everyday life, and us being cyclical and not linear. So men are very linear, you know,
Sure.
and we are emotional, and the emotions go round and round depending on where we are in the cycle and where the moon is in the sky.
Sure, as you say, like masculinity is linear. It's about dealing with the issues, resolve it, and move on. And they don't go back to, you know, what it used to be.
No. It's what you see is what you get. Women are far more interesting than that.
Yeah. To put it
Men
that
are
way.
cool, but women are deep. So, yeah. The red tent.
And I would like to just have a little bit of clarification. And this whole red tent and the way you approach the womb awareness isn't feminism.
It's not feminism.
Yeah, I thought so. That's absolutely not feminism. Actually, it's just paying respect. Like, I don't really know the definition of feminism is, but, you know, men and women are not equal.
No.
Because we are different.
I came across an expression recently that I love, that we are not created to be equal, we are created for equilibrium.
Exactly, and that's alchemy.
So the two have to balance each other
Yes,
out. The one is not more important than the other. Women have definitely had to fight for their rights, you know, since the times of being burned at the stake and through suppression, not being able to study or to, you know, become doctors when they're naturally healers anyway. They've had to fight for their rights in that way, but we're past that now.
We passed that.
And now we need to learn to come together again in
Yes.
harmony.
Yes, harmony.
And I think the red tent can help people do that, because when a woman understands at the basic level of her menstrual cycle who she is as a woman, there's no confusion about being a woman or being a man.
Yeah.
Your power is within your womb, and
Yes.
you that's it.
Yeah, like
you
you
don't need to
create.
fight with a man for power.
Yes, because we have gotten power to create, and that's what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and from the womb place that we create. We saw things, we create, and that's what we do.
Absolutely. The same energy that creates life. Some people might call it an orgasm, but if you take that word away, there's an energy that underlies that.
That explosive energy.
That energy that
That leads to
creates
creation.
life,
Yeah.
absolutely, creates every month something. So if you're not creating life, you're still in the state of creation. So if you are aware that you're in the state of creation, then you can use your menstrual cycle to be a very powerful creator.
And this doesn't necessarily imply that a woman has to have a physical child, biological child. There we go.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Even if you have had a hysterectomy, you know, you're no less. That space still exists within you. And having said that, it exists within men too. It
Yeah,
does. That
I was
creative
gonna-
space is still there.
Yeah.
So somebody's called me up recently on transgender.
Oh, interesting. Because I was gonna just ask, you have started a group of Red Tent too.
We haven't had our first tent yet, but it will happen in spring, definitely.
Okay.
A gathering for men to learn about their sisters, wives, mothers, daughters.
Oh, that approach.
We need to support men to understand our new way of being better.
Yes.
And this is a way.
Cool.
One way.
Yeah, one of the ways. Could you explain what Red Tent is?
So the Red Tent is based on a book called The Red Tent. that was set in biblical times. And that's just for a point of reference in history. It could be any time in the past, because there are still older cultures living this way. But what it is that once a month the women would take 3 days leave to go and retreat together. So they would cycle together, and they would dream together, they would sit together, and they would rest, because their body is busy doing something. It doesn't need to be serving the family. They would take leave from serving the family so that they could nurture themselves for 3 days a month, and then that would give them the energy and strength for the next 27 days to serve the family. So it's just bringing awareness back to that you are cycling. It is important. Don't just put a plug in and carry on. Like,
like in modern days.
You're not a man. Stop acting like you're a man and pretending you're a man. You're a woman, and there's a reason that you cycle. Honor it, or else, then don't be surprised when you do have fertility issues.
Do a lot of people come to you for fertility?
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So in the red tent, we sit together and we meet, and the issues that come up can be around sexual trauma. They can be around menstrual irregularities. They can be around premenstrual syndrome. They can be around fertility, as you're saying.
Like
so
abortions as well?
Miscarriage and abortion are currently the biggest things I'm dealing with.
Okay.
That needs to be cleared up, and a place needs to be made for it in society, that people can talk about these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Atma, as a man, what do you think about
what you're hearing?
Yeah.
To be honest, I've just been concentrating on
the technical. Yeah, sorry, the music.
When you told me about you last week, I decided to do a little research. And most of the stuff that you're saying, like sexual trauma, abortions, things like that, I checked on one of the Red Tent groups. I think it's an American group, It looked pretty interesting. It kind of reminded me of the more traditional aspect of things with the Tswana rite of passage.
Well, interesting you say that. What is the Tswana rite of passage? I've started working with a Sotho lady.
Yes, it's similar to Sotho.
And she has some very, very deep knowledge that we are uncovering around these things. So I'm curious to hear your...
Yeah, we're fortunate enough to have a few lessons with that in high school, I guess. Yeah, that was high school.
Okay.
So what happens is you have what's known as bujale, which is for ladies. So when girls come of age and they have their first menstrual cycle, they're taken to a sacred place where nobody else is supposed to go, and they get
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, they get training, and they get love and respect from elderly ladies.
Wow.
That is exactly what is missing in Western society.
Yeah.
You are made to feel ashamed when you have your first cycle.
Well, it's not just Western. It's like Asia. At least in Japan, it is like that.
Is it?
It's
Yeah, there's no celebration.
Don't talk about it. No.
We can have things like bar mitzvahs for guys in sort of...
Yeah, like
West, but there's no celebration. I know in the Hindu cultures that there is, but the celebration is, it's so big that the whole town knows about it.
Yeah.
It's not a private little feminine ceremony for women together. It's all the uncles and brothers and everyone knows, and the little girl's not allowed to hang out with her male cousins anymore. It's still shameful. It's beautiful that you've got this honoring, and that is what I'm trying to bring awareness to, is the honoring of your cycle, so you can honor yourself as a woman.
Yeah.
What other rituals do you have?
Hectic. I don't know it in depth. I don't know it like in that much depth, but I know it's a whole spiritual thing. It's a whole journey. The physicality of the matter and the spiritual aspect of the matter, it's all there. I know they're like ladies who are in charge of that, like elderly ladies who are in charge of handling that and training younger ladies. And
Okay, that's fascinating.
Now I wish I'd paid more attention.
Now you will. You see, this is
Yeah.
part of supporting the masculine, is that it's education has to take place for women, and then for women to educate men.
Yeah.
I think mostly is as a teenager I was like really shy. So when they started talking about this kind of
This
stuff,
is the
I
thing,
felt
because
like
there was no
crawling under my
education
desk.
around
Yeah,
it.
there was no awareness then, so that lack of awareness just continues on.
Yeah.
And that leads to the next generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
In Japan, there is a little bit of a celebration on the first time a girl has a menstruation, and they cook a glutinous rice, like very sticky rice, which is like, celebrated food with red beans. And so everyone knows that, she's fertile, she can get married, not that.
And cook for someone.
And then afterwards, it becomes shameful thing that you're not supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to behave like normal, like as if you're not suffering, because it does come with pain. For most of people, doesn't it? Discomfort and pain, or does it?
No.
Is it how we perceive it?
Yeah, the pain is relative to your experience of your cycle. So if you are in harmony with your cycle, there is no pain. You'll feel a little bit of cramping, and you'll understand that this is just a time of release. We're so lucky every time we get to release our baggage from the previous month and let it go.
That's wonderful to know, because warm place is somewhere that we store our emotions, both negative and positive, and sometimes negative stays there for a long time. We carry pain in the womb,
and we can consciously release it each cycle.
Women should know that.
Yes.
Really?
I think Manu should be here. Sorry.
You think?
My wife, she's the one who knows more about this, particularly from the traditional perspective.
Well, I'll have to meet with her.
Yeah, she would be like telling you a whole lot.
Awesome.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Like I checked as well on one of the videos. It looked like they have like a kind of chanting ceremony, singing, and there's a whole actual tent.
So we don't do that. We keep it very normal for people, so that it's not weird and strange. So we just share our experiences. So a lot of people have so you're going back to the painful cycles, a lot of people have a lot of they actually have forgotten the day of their very first cycle, how it was for them. And a lot of them were actually, it was very shameful. They were ashamed that they were cycling, that they had reached their first cycle, and they didn't know what was going on. And they're still carrying that shame with them. So every month it's being compounded that, oh my word, it's this time, oh my word, it's this time. And that's creating the pain, is that you are ignoring a very important part of your own body. And if you just recognize that this is a time for release, not a time for ignoring me. Your womb's like, don't ignore me, I'm here to help you. Let's let go of this thing that happened last month or the month before, or whatever trauma you've been through, or emotional issues. You're saying emotions in the womb. So if we acknowledge that we've been through really tough emotions in the last month, whatever was happening in our lives, we can release it with our cycle, then there's no pain. So a lot of us right now have a lot of backlog to clear. So it can take 6 months to a year if you're having extremely painful cycles to clear that backlog. But I'm definitely seeing a shift in people. Which brings me back to the point you made, which was what? I forget now. I wanted to approach something you had mentioned.
The singing and chanting.
So what we do is we bring those issues to light. We more bring to light the issues around the painful cycle, releasing it, or the miscarriage and releasing it, and the abortion, releasing it, maybe just by writing a letter and having your own sort of burial, so that you and that soul can be at peace. So we don't go into ceremony work, which is some more chanting, and that's very deep work. There is a place for it, but it doesn't happen at our general monthly gatherings. Our general monthly gatherings are just talking around these things and bringing them to light, and then doing a meditation or whatever. But yes, there definitely is a space for more deep work to happen on a ceremonial level, but we need to get people comfortable with that idea.
I used to go to red tent, not that I have stopped, but I got so much benefit from it. And there are more people who started showing interest, and it became really full, the red tent gathering itself. And I thought, I'll give space to those who are new. But the time I was going there for, I was going there for about a year, right? And it really helped. You talked about how important it is to acknowledge our femininity, or not just femininity, just the womanness, the fact, the biological woman aspect of our being. To acknowledge it, to appreciate it, and that awareness was really important. As you said, you talked about it every month, and it was a very good reminder every month, because it was not something that I was aware of, all my life. So I needed that reminder every month that, acknowledge your body, acknowledge what you are as you are, and just being reminded that it's part of nature, it's part of who I am, what we are. And that really, really helped. So it's not like I gave up on red tent or anything. It was so beneficial going there.
It's getting so big that it is the people need to make way for new people all the time. It's a toroidal field. There's people coming in and going out, out, and it has to be that way, because there's so many people that have to learn about themselves.
Yeah, I believe so.
And I think about a 9-month cycle is all you need to heal. 9 months worth of red tents, and then you've got every bit of wisdom and healing that you need.
And funny that it's 9 months.
I find that, I don't know that it's fact, but for me that's what I see.
Yeah.
And for me it was a 9-month integration.
And that's a 9 month, just like conception to birth.
Exactly. Yeah. It really gives you a great foundation into understanding all these things we're talking about, and it gives you the tools to then go and apply them in your own life. And then, once in a while, if you need a bit of connection, it's there, but it's not a constant contractual agreement to be part of the red tent. You are the red tent. You cycle. You are the red tent.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more about the red tent book.
The book.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure who the author is, but it's this lady who wrote about a group of women that were, as I say, set in biblical times. And I think that's just to represent another time in history where women lived differently.
Okay.
So there were these women that were part of a community, and they were serving the men, as you do, grow the plants, make the food, tend to illnesses, make sure everyone's well and happy. And then what happened? Sure, I've read this book a long time ago. You're testing me here. So what happened then was...
Is there a place where I can get it, though?
Yeah, you can download it on Kindle. It's such a small book, you can read it very quickly.
Okay.
You could probably get it off Amazon. But Kindle, because it's a quick read book, I don't know that you need a hard copy of it. It's not a reference book.
Oh, okay.
It's just a storybook.
It's in story.
It's a fiction.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's a fictional book.
When was it written?
It was written just a few years ago.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. I'm guessing off the top of my head about 4 or 5 years ago. It's a new movement. So these women then, what happened is the families split up, and then the women split up. But there was this thing that they would honor their cycle every month. And this would help them to honor their family by taking time out for themselves. It is a fiction book. It's not even a textbook on, okay, we cycle. I'm going to write that textbook. I'm going to do it now.
So what does the cycle mean, like in general, like to you? What does it mean, like the cycle?
It's a time of honor, ring oneself. It's a time of really honoring that I am a female and I have the power to create life. And that is very important, and every month I'm reminded of how important and powerful I am as a creator human. And that's why people are using the term goddess, because God is male, but men don't carry life and give birth to life. They have the seed, but who carries life and gives birth to life? That is our blessing as women, and we're reminded every month of that. So what it is for me, it's a time to take time to connect with myself in this busy rat race that we live in. Mm-hmm. Take a hot bath, or pray a lot, or just remember that you are created in the image of a creatoress.
As I was saying at the beginning of this radio show, I don't think I was really being able to express myself that well. I was a bit distracted by the technical issues that we were having.
Oh.
But anyway,
Okay.
but original figure of a divinity was female. Original as thousands of years ago.
Yes.
And I think some listeners already heard, but there was mystery to conception, to birth, and also the fact that we can actually create food to babies. And that all happened as it is, and men were awed by it. Men were
In awe, yeah.
yeah, in awe. They worshipped women, and then time changed about 2,000 years ago, and what's the word that focuses on a father figure to be the most important thing. Patriarchal, yes, that's the word.
So there
The
were
religion.
matriarchal times.
It was.
And it's not that one is right and one is wrong. There's a
No.
new time now that
a
should be
combination.
called,
Yes.
what should we call it?
In Toltec, tarot, Toltec, we call it time of horse.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's sun god, and
Okay.
it's goddess Isis and
Ra.
goddess Isis and Osiris,
Oh.
god Osiris. And Osiris is a dying god, which is just like Jesus Christ, the dying god that was resurrected, And there's so many dying god figure in the last 2,000 years, or 3,000 years. And that was the start of what's the word you said again?
Patriarchal.
Yeah.
Patriarchy.
Yeah, patriarchy. And now it's starting to shift. And it's important that women embrace our womanness, not in a feminism way, but our biological divinity, and men acknowledge it. And we also, it's also important to acknowledge masculinity as it is and respect, because without men, women can't be conceived. Without women, men can't continue their, species. So we both need both elements.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's everywhere in nature is that there's the seed and the fruit. Every single where in nature, not one is more important than the other.
Yeah.
Not God is more important than goddess. They are equally important.
There are some species that can have a conception and birth by itself, but it's not new. It's just cloning actually. So it's a last resort that they do. There's some lizards and parasite type of creatures.
I know a couple of reptiles that do
Reptiles
that,
do.
and some amphibians as well.
Yeah, and it's just cloning. So there won't be variety, because life has to be alchemy. Different elements must be taken in order to create new things. So we need to mix. Male and female needs to be, masculinity and femininity needs to be mixed in order to create a child. Child as not necessarily about a biological child, but a new creation comes from two, opposing elements.
But I don't know if you're familiar with the Vedic aspect of the presentation of the thing.
I'm familiar with the Vedas. Which aspect in particular do you mean?
In describing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that the feminine exists.
The Atman.
Within the yeah. So ultimately, we are all feminine when it comes to our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who also has the feminine in him, and who comes in the form of Radharani. So, particularly, I was just reading this actually.
Actually, that's interesting. Like,
so the Supreme Personality of Godhead is rather Krishna. Krishna is never alone. So Krishna means he who attracts everything, and everything is attracted to him. So Radharani is, you could say, the internal pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore manifests as the feminine form and is the topmost devotee. So in that way, we are a feminine energy.
yes.
So all other atmas, or what's known
Souls.
as prakriti, that
Yes,
energy,
yes.
we are all feminine. But then, because how we desire to then pursue our desires, we then take the forms that we do. So karmically speaking, yes, I may be male in this life, and then maybe in my previous life or in my next life, depending on the karmic heritage I may have, or the karma that I may garner or farm, then I become female.
You know, that's quite interesting. That to hear that from a, Hindu point of view, because there is a very similar philosophy or teaching
Actually,
in Kabbalah as well.
It goes out of Hinduism, actually.
Okay.
It goes out of Hinduism. It becomes what's known as Sanatan Dharma, or the eternal constitutional position.
Yeah,
thing.
and I'm
Unfortunately, Dharma has been defined as religion, but religion doesn't really.
No,
describe
religion is quite.
It falls off. Yeah.
It's not all
religion
encompassing.
No,
Yeah.
religion is dogmatic, but
Yeah.
in Kabbalah, there is also the very similar, or if not the same concept, that all souls are feminine, and we are all waiting for that touch by a masculine light, and that will resurrect this feminine sleeping state of a soul. And you can also, and this is Kabbalah, which also is reflected on Tolstek, or the tarot that I create. And the idea itself, also you can see it in like Disney movies, Disney cartoon movies, where there is a sleeping princess, and she waits for the kiss from her ultimate love, princess kiss that wakes her up, and they become a king and a queen. And that is the same idea, the bride. We are all bride. Our souls are bride to the divine, and being touched by the divine, we become higher self.
So does the red tent deal
I like that a lot. I really love that. Sorry.
So
yes.
if
I
you
was just
see,
about to- does the
if
red
you-
tent touch on things?
No.
if you see,
In a red tent, we are not ever going to discuss gods and goddesses and religion and faith and Vedanta or anything like that. It's about women at the biological level.
Okay.
What your soul comes and takes from the experience is your experience, and I'm not going to interfere with your spiritual or
Yeah, yeah.
religious experience. I can't. I wonder if my dad's listening. My dad's like from a line of priests, Afrikaans.
Okay.
And I can't get involved in these controversial issues in the tent space.
Okay.
If someone approaches me personally, cool, there's a space for it. But no, we're dealing with biology and healing at the biological level. But as with the koshas, I mean, if you're dealing with the physical body and healing that, it's going to go through to the pranamaya kosha, or the annamaya kosha, or the vijnanamaya kosha, or the anandamaya kosha. So you heal one, you heal them all. But yeah.
But have you ever had like an encounter with something like that? And if you do,
Many,
yeah.
like almost everyone that comes into, I would say everyone actually, hey? Everyone that comes into the red tent leaves, transformation takes place. Because simply acknowledging yourself at the root essence of who you are as a woman, despite what's happened in history or in your family or in your life, something shifts. Something fundamentally shifts. I get messages from people that have moved halfway across the world, and I've got a dog and I'm so happy and I'm living by the sea and thanks, it was all to your red tent. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's cool. It happens all the time. I haven't ever heard someone not having a transformational experience at a fundamental level after attending a red tent.
Sounds powerful.
It
Yeah,
is,
it is
and
quite
it
powerful.
chose me. I didn't even choose this. It's such beautiful, powerful work.
Yeah, I was there the first time they opened it. Well, Janaki opened it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The very first red tent.
Very first time, and it was traumatic for me.
She didn't come back for 6 months.
It was like,
But this happens. People come and it's so transformational that they can't come back for a while.
Yeah,
'cause
it
they have
was
to go
like-
and work out what's just happened.
I was still dealing with some issues in life, and I was like, I can't deal with all this the fact that I'm born as a female, and there is there's whole ideas of fertility, and as I said, I'm not gonna go into my personal issues right now, but it's like I can't talk about that whole menstruation of fertility and those kind of things. That's just gonna break me, so I'm not gonna go back. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
And then you had a session of a red tent doing womb yoga,
Yes.
and
That's when you came back.
Yeah, I came back. I thought I shall go back and see.
What's womb yoga?
And that's another Janaki's life work, womb yoga.
Yeah, so the pregnancy yoga gave birth to womb yoga through my mentor, which I follow in the UK. She was doing the same thing, so I always just look to her for guidance. The red tent's another thing that she's doing in her own way. But the womb yoga is born of all this knowledge coming together. It's of the awareness of pregnancy and of fertility and of menstrual irregularities or menstrual health, menstrual awareness. And then, so that is the red tent and pregnancy yoga, or gave birth to womb yoga. Womb yoga is a very gentle, fluid, flowing form. Just as women are gentle, fluid, and flowing, as our cycle is gentle, supposed to be fluid and flowing. And the yoga is the same. It's just about rolling into your pelvis and moving with your breath. There's nothing rigid and static about it. You see, this is where the difference comes in between conventional yoga as we know it, asana, yoga postures, and womb yoga. So yoga asana postures was created by men for men, so that they could have the experience that women very easily have anyway with the divine. So that was yoga in the past, but now there's only women practicing yoga, right? So what are we doing to acknowledge that they have different needs? They're already in touch all the time, especially every month they have that connection with divinity as they're cycling. So what are we giving them? They need much more soft, opening, flowing movements into their pelvis and their heart space, and that's womb yoga.
It's actually after experiencing womb yoga with you a few times, I thought those moves are quite the yoga itself isn't orgasmic, but the movements actually reflect that orgasmic sensual, yeah. But it's it's how women should express themselves, not just during sexual acts, but it's about our embracing our sensuality and expressing it. That's what I felt.
Well, I'm just thinking off the top of my head now, but if you break down the word sensuality, it's senses, and it's the 5 senses, the indriyas. So we are sensual beings. That's not a secret. Everybody knows that a woman is a sensual being. What does that mean? It means she has the ability to deeply be in touch with the world of the 5 senses, whilst still remaining connected to the worlds outside of the 5 senses. So it can we got to be careful not to confuse it with sexuality.
Exactly.
Sensuality is different to sexuality. The ability to express through your body and through your movements your love affair with the five sense world that you are in. You may as well accept it. Through the body, I think is what's happening there, and it does maybe look a bit more sexual when a woman is being sensual. But the thing is, the sensuality can be taken outside of the bedroom.
Yes, absolutely. It can be in everyday life.
Yeah, which is something I'm just still learning.
Oh,
myself.
no. Like Janaki is a very sexy woman, if you ask me, and you are such a Taurus woman. Like you take, you're like Taurus women. You know, especially I feel that they are sensual because they are honest to their senses. If you ask me, and in my eyes, you are that.
Yeah, I'm already thinking of food. Touch, taste, smell.
Well, exactly. Food or drinking, or like anything that feeds your senses, feeds your soul. And as we said,
thank you for reminding me.
It has
this
nothing
is why
to do with the
sisterhood
sex.
is important, because we can remind each other of how awesome we are instead of beating ourselves up.
I'm kind of jealous. We don't have that as
as
a man.
Well,
no,
there are men tents, there are male tents. There are tents for men, not just where men can go learn about women, but where men can learn about men. They are on the rise, and actually, I know of one. If you want to go check it out.
Let's talk about how we can get hold of you, Janaki.
Okay.
Your Facebook, email address.
So, for the pregnancy, fertility, yoga aspect of things, Yoga Mama. It's Yoga Mama, YOGAMAMA.
This will be all shared on YouTube and Instagram and things like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So Yoga Mama is the yoga aspect, womb yoga, fertility, menstrual. The Red Tent is on Facebook as the Red Tent Johannesburg.
Group or page?
Group and page.
What's the difference?
The group we interact, and the page is more notifications of events.
Is it a closed group or open?
It is a closed group.
It's a closed group.
Can men join, or is it just...
Would you enjoy being a part of something like that? I don't know if men should join or if we should leave it for women to go and explore themselves.
Or you could make a different group
for men
that includes men.
Well, interesting, because that will happen now with the Red Tent men's group, which we might call the Blue Tent or something.
The Blue Tent.
Yeah.
So it is a closed group for women, but there is a men's space opening, as I say, in spring now. How else can you get hold of me? On Facebook, it's going to be a bit harder to find me unless you're listening really carefully, because Janaki is J''ANAKI, and the surname on that Facebook profile is Ra, R-A.
Is that from an Egyptian god, sun god Ra?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think a lot of my knowledge that I seem to have is coming through that
The
time.
sun god, yeah.
Those ancient times when women were pharaohs.
And email address?
Email address, you can use info@yogamama.co.za will be the easiest to share on air.
Cool. We got exactly 7 minutes to go, and because I'm a tarot reader, I usually call for doing a reading for a follower of my Facebook group, or have listeners calling in, but usually no listener calling. So wondering if you would like to get a tarot reading, but a quick one, more like a let's have
just one.
Yeah, just
small
one,
thing.
and what is the universal message type of thing? You know,
for Janaki or for the Red Tent or for Yoga Mama?
You decide. What is your intention?
Oh.
Yeah, what is your intention?
Well, since you know me on a personal level, I'm always stuck on the same intention, but so maybe we can change it a little bit.
Okay.
And the intention for the work.
For the work, your life work as a womb whisperer.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have you...
And for the world.
For the world, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do that. I'll have you draw a card. Oh, nice. 9 of Cups. Happiness. Happiness. Another word of this card is wish card, which means all your, we were talking about senses just now, and it's the card that will fulfill all the senses that we can feel. Emotions that we get from all sorts of happiness, from love to family to work to anything you want comes true. That sort of
That is
that's a wish card.
Absolutely fine. Does it mean make a wish or your wishes are coming true?
Both.
Or you can have anything you wish. All of the above.
Anything you wish. Yeah. So.
Wow, I love how you've done that card.
Oh, thank you
so
so much.
beautiful.
All the cups are being filled by water, and water is this flowing senses, and it's richness. I think it's very suitable.
I'm happy with that, and
Yeah.
even if it was a more challenging card, I'd be happy with that. Thank you.
Well, there is no negative in any of the card. It's like a negative. Any negative things in life is a guide to what you should be looking at or what you should be dealing with. There is no negative. It becomes negative if we perceive it that way. So everything is blessing, and I hope everyone gets blessing from listening to this, that your wish may come true.
This has been really fun and
Awesome.
cool and interesting. I've never done anything like this. Thank you.
Awesome. And I'll be sharing this on YouTube, audio version, so you can share it with the people. You got many followers, so I hope they can listen to this very significant
Yes,
session.
I'm looking forward to making use of this content to share
Yeah,
far
absolutely.
and wide.
Yeah, and if you
on the male groups and female groups.
and if you want me to edit any of the recording, I will do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be 1 hour long session, if you know what I mean.
Well, we can break the questions down into segments.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Lovely.
Okay, so cool. Atma, I didn't really get to introduce you today, but
No, you don't have to. I'm the guy who's always here, never leave.
I'm the technical guy.
No, I'm like the guest who never leaves.
Well, no. He is the one who does he runs the whole 108live.radio.
Wow.
So,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, well, Janaki was quite fascinated by the name 108 Live, 108.
I'm busy doing a 108 challenge.
Yeah,
myself.
you're on the 100.
I'm on 101 today.
Yeah.
What's the challenge?
So it's 108 days of yoga. So, I'm very traditional in my approach to yoga. Yoga is not asana, it's not just poses. So 108 days of yoga has been meditation or chanting or working with the body or working with myself or working with exploring life, the working with the niyamas and the niyamas. In my life, making them tangible and making that public for hopefully the inspiration of other people.
You doing it alone?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got 7 days left.
Alrighty. Thank you for joining us, Janaki.
Thanks.
Thank you, Atma, for your support and always.
No, thank you for having me. It's been enlightening.
Cool.
I enjoyed it.
So now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for listening for the last 1 hour. It was interactive tarot on 108live.radio. I'm Kazway, your personal guide to tarot cards, and we look forward to you tuning in next Friday at 11 a.m. If you have any question about tarot or any of the things that were talked about during the session today, you can email to mail2@cassiopeia.com or check out https
//
Yes, exactly. www.cassiopeia.com. Cassiopeia being spelled Kashiopeia. And you can also contact Janaki to the contact information that she shared earlier, and it will be written on YouTube. Alrighty, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.